One of the things I like most about How to Sell Yourself Like a CEO is the fact that besides giving advice, it also gives you tools to actually make the most out of it. So there's a lot of times where you get books that talk about theory and ideas, but don't give you much to actually put your teeth into to apply what you learned. And so I think a very large part of the book, I'd say maybe 30% or so, is actually worksheets and tools to help apply what you learn. I think one of the biggest misconceptions about selling yourself is that it is self-centered or perhaps arrogant or can be perceived as arrogant. The reality is that your biggest advocate is yourself. Relying on other people is never going to be sufficient. You might have a great boss, you might have a great friend, but in the end, you can only really rely on yourself in all situations. And so I think this book really reinforces that concept and gives you the tools to do it. I think one piece of advice that I like in How to Sell Yourself Like a CEO would be um, really have a plan. I was pretty opportunistic in my early part of my career. And while it led to some pretty interesting adventures, a little bit of directed planning would probably be exceptionally helpful. Again, I think one of the things I like about this book is it's one thing to say, have a plan, but again, this book gives you the tools to actually lay out the plan. The way I talk about this is like when someone tells you, you have a good idea, but someone wants you to write a business plan or a business case, but that can look different to different people. And if I write a business case or write a business plan, it may not be what you're looking for. In this case, you get the tools to be able to talk about that plan, whether it's the direction, the things you're good at, people you may want to network with. And I think that's outstanding. One of the challenges that I'm more ready to meet after reading the book is when we do change jobs. For me, it's often after years and years in a single company. So I've been in one company for 6 years and another company for 10 years. And when you move into a new company, that's only maybe 2 times or 3 times in my career that I've had to switch company culture and all the details of the company. So focusing on the 30, 60, 90, not just for being able to succeed in a new company, which I think is useful, but also to think more about how to integrate into the culture itself in the new companies. Because again, we only get to do that a couple times in our career. So I find that really useful to give us a plan to walk through how you might address not just what you're going to accomplish, the goals that you're hoping to hit, the high points and so on, quick wins, but also how are you going to get a read on the culture and then integrate it. I would recommend How to Sell Yourself Like a CEO to other people. Ryan, I've known for maybe 10 years or so throughout my career in Asia. And while he has focused in Japan, I think the things he brings up here are almost universal. And so not just for someone like me, who's a little bit further on mid-career, I'm nearing 50, but for people earlier on to be able to get that plan and really start their career well, keep strong throughout their career, and then finish well towards the end of their career as they become more senior and start thinking more and more about what their legacy is going to be. And I think this is a great book to help you at pretty much any point. Too many times, a lot of business books and career type books give you ideas, but don't give you the meat of how you're going to attack the problem. And I really, really appreciate that this book gives me those tools that I can share with employees, that I can use myself. All of that I find exceptionally useful and hard to find, honestly, in these kind of books.